the compound interest calculator. It is probably the most underrated tool in the personal finance and investment world. It is my favorite tool. It's also like the most nerdy and geeked out thing to say. Compound interest, calculate that compound interest, you know? It just sounds nerdy, it sounds geeky, but it is so fun and it is a must use for everybody on their own personal finance and investment journey. So there's kind of these numbers that you always hear people say, like if you ever watch Dave Ramsey, he'll say things like invest $6,000 over 30 years and it's worth over $1 million. And you're like, where is he coming up with this number at? Well, he does this in a compound interest calculator. Albert Einstein is most famously quoted saying that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, and it really is a wonder. And the more money you have, the more it compounds, and you'll see how it works. So there's three main use cases that I like to use the compound interest calculator for. Number one is just for people to get their first grip around it, understand it, and use it as a starting place for everyone as they kick off their investment journey. Number two, I like to use it as motivation for myself. And whenever I just want to see how much money I think I'll have in the future and I want to have that feeling of financial security, I like to plug in my own numbers into the compound interest calculator. And number three, I like to use it as a way to decide if things are worth buying in the moment versus what that money could be worth for me in the future. And we'll cover all three of those use cases today. And before we dive into the calculator, I just want to say thank you for being here. I'm Jacob. I'm 28 years old. I have $676,000. I'm debt-free. I'm building wealth for myself and for my family. And I'm just trying to build a rich, wealthy life. I'm trying to hit $1 million by the time I'm 32. So if you like financial content, specifically like debt-free journey stuff, budgeting stuff, investment stuff, then definitely hit that subscribe button and be sure to give me a like. Just go on ahead and give me a like. All right, so the compound interest calculator. My favorite one to use is from investor.gov. It's free and you can jump in there anytime you want to use it. So let's pretend we're starting off with that first use case, which is just getting an understanding of the calculator and pretending that you're taking your first steps towards investing. So here's how it works. Let's say that you have $1,000 that you would like to invest today, and you would put in your initial investment of $1,000. Then we would say, well, how much are you going to contribute every single year? I think everyone needs to at least be contributing $5,000, $6,000. Let's go $6,000 a year that you need to be contributing. If you want to build real wealth, then at least have over $1 million by the time you're 60 to 70 years old, depending on when you start. So we're going to pretend you're 30 years old right now, investing your first $1,000. And you're going to put in a monthly contribution of $500 every month, which would be $6,000 a year. And over the next 30 years, we'll see what that compounds into. So we'll say 30 years, length of time in years, estimated interest rate. The stock market, well, specifically the S&P 500, averages a 10% return per year over the long term. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but we'll just keep it simple and say S&P 500. So we'll do 10%. And then we click calculate. So here is our number. If you invest $1,000 today, you're 30 years old, and you let it sit there for the next 30 years, earning 10%, that $1,000 plus the $500 monthly contribution every single month compounds to over $1 million by the time that you're 60. And the chart here is what makes it super fun to look at, because you can see like the green line is the principal, your total contribution. So over 30 years, you put in $181,000 in total, and it compounds out to $1,004,000. So $820,000 more or less is purely interest. And so the best way to think about interest is like whenever you are renting an apartment, or no, here's a better one. Whenever you take a loan out from a bank and you have to pay 3% on your interest, they give you a loan for $1,000. They say, give me 3% interest, and then you have to give them $30, right? Well, every year you pay them $30, your 3% interest. It's kind of like the stock market pays you interest back on your initial investment. And this is how it works. So that's use case number one, using the compound interest calculator to understand where you're at right now to kick off your investment journey. And then I love to just play around with these numbers. Start imagining saying like, well, what if I can start investing $1,000 a month and that's $12,000 a year instead of $500. You calculate that, and oh my gosh, there it is. The number comes out to $1.9 million, almost $1 million more. So this is really fun to play with. I say it's nerded out, geeked out. I love this stuff. I think you'll have fun with it too whenever you get in there. Number 2, so I like to use the compound interest calculator to calculate like where I am in my own investment journey right now and just see like the numbers explode. So I have $676,000. I'm going to reset the calculator. Whenever I put in $676,000 and I'm only 28, I like to say, okay, I'm going to put in $0 more for the rest of my life. I'm not going to contribute anything else. Again, I'm 28, so let's just pretend we're going to do this until I'm 60. So this would be 32 years. And then I'll do an estimated interest rate of 10%, S&P 500 return. This is going to blow your mind. I click calculate. This comes out to I can't talk. This comes out to $14.2 million. Again, look at this line. Over 32 years, I really can't talk today. All I contributed is like starting with $676,000, and then it compounds out to $14.2 million. It's over $13 million of compound interest. The market just giving me money. Because what happens is just like a snowball. You put in one little amount and it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. So we start here at year 0, 676. Year 2, it turns into 743. Year 3, it turns into $817,000, $899, and it keeps going up. So in year 5 from now, when I'm 33, this is over $1 million. And then if I go out to 20 years from now and I'm 48, this is $4.5 million. This stuff is crazy. It blows my mind, and I always love to just play with these numbers and say, what if I start adding a little bit more? But this is where it gets really crazy. What if I were to add a little bit more? Which I am. Realistically, right now, I am adding minimum $784 a month for my monthly contribution. So I'll put that in here. I'll say I'm going to do that for the next 32 years. Now, mind you, if I don't add another dollar just with my initial investment right now of $676,000, in 32 years, I'll have $14.2 million. I am adding $784 every month, and let's just calculate that out. Whenever I click it, it actually shows me my 14.2 turns into 16.1. That's $2 million more dollars, but it's not that much more money. If you really think about, I end up contributing a lot more money, like about $300,000, because my total contribution went from $676,000 up to $977,000. So I contribute $300,000 more dollars over 32 years. But I only get $2 more million at the end when I'm 60 versus if I don't contribute anything. And that is the power of compound interest. The earlier you start, the more money you put in as fast as you can, the younger you are, the more that money has to just sit there and roll and roll and roll into a big old snowball. And then, I mean, this is go time, baby. I'm going to be 60 years old, $16 million. And imagine if I got 10% a year on $16 million, that's $1.6 million a year in just disposable income to do anything I want with. Now, I understand there's a lot of hard work at the beginning here. I've done it to put in a lot of money at the beginning, but it's so worth it. I mean, I'm sure you can think of plenty of 60-year-olds out there or older in your life that have nowhere near $16 million. And the thing is we're all going to get old eventually. It's a big sacrifice to put in a bunch of money earlier and to say no to a lot of stuff earlier, but I don't want to be broke ever. And if I can have $16 million when I'm 60 versus never having it all, I'm going to take it when I can get it when I'm 60. So that is use case number 2. Just kind of gives me financial security. I like to see how much money I'm going to have in the future, whether I put in any more money or not. And it makes me feel good about myself. The last one is I like to use the calculator as a way to calculate if I should buy something or not. So right now, for example, I'm driving this 18-year-old clunker Volkswagen 2007 Fox. It runs great. It gets me from point A to B, but it is far from the epitome of comfortability when it comes to automobile, right? And oftentimes I think about buying a new vehicle. I don't know, a new truck, an SUV or something, but I say, okay, it's going to cost me $30,000. And I don't like to settle for things. I could get a new vehicle or a used one that maybe cost me $12,000, $15,000. Then I'm kind of like, I want it. I don't really want it. I want what I want. I know what I want. I want a Toyota Hilux or a Toyota Corolla Cross. And both of those things, new models, are going to cost me around $30,000 or more dollars. So I say to myself, I'm not going to settle, because there's no point in settling for something lesser than what I want, because I already have a car that gets me from point A to point B. So I'm really only going to buy the vehicle that I want. And those are the two I want, the Hilux or the Corolla Cross. And so if I want to spend $30,000 right now, I say, what would this cost me in future value? And I put in $30,000, and I say monthly contribution, 0, length of time in years. I just want to see, like, what would $30,000 today, if I spent it today on a vehicle instead of just sitting in my investments, letting it ride till I'm 60, what would that cost me in terms of opportunity cost? And so I'll put in my 10%, and I click calculate. That $30,000 today in 30 years is going to be worth $523,000. So my opportunity cost is $490,000. And I think to myself, I'm 28. Do I need that newer vehicle right now? It is more comfortable. It's going to just be better. I'm going to enjoy it more. I don't really care about what people think of me and what I drive. Actually, I don't care at all. But I do want to be more comfortable. But I think I can live. I would much rather have the money compound out into the future and be worth a lot more in the future than using it right now and driving around in a newer vehicle. So I do this for a lot of stuff. I mean, I will do this for things that are as small as $500. I will do it for things that are as small as $100. I may not come into the calculator, but I think about future value and opportunity cost. Call me a rat, call me whatever you want, call me a penny pincher, but you know, this is just my mindset on things. So this is the compound interest calculator. I hope this was useful for you. Give it a shot. Go play with it. Investor.gov compound interest calculator. It's super fun to play with. Wherever you are in your investment journey, definitely get just a grasp on it. And yeah, so be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'll be back with more content. See ya.